Alright, I think I'm live. Well, that was easy. Alright, bear with me one sec, guys. I want to make sure this is working. Yep, it is working. Cool. Alright, so we've got some folks here already. That's awesome. Just bear with me one sec, guys. I want to load up the chat in a different window so I know what the hell's going on. Alright, so we've got Christo Guitar. How are you, man? Giuseppe Grisia, maybe? I know I've pronounced that wrong. Sorry. How you going? So we've got Vintage. G'day from Canberra. How are you, man? Isaac Ord. How you doing? He's on his way out. So, yeah, have a good day, man. Or good evening. We've got Dragos. Ahmad as well. How are you? And Ahmad, I promised I'd email you, and I still haven't. I was thinking about it about 20 minutes ago. I'm going to email you back. I'll do it after this stream, I promise. I got a question / favor to ask you. Alright, audio and video is good. That's awesome. I'm using my production, well, one of my production cameras and one of these guys. So it should hopefully be okay, audio and video wise. Kin Mason says, hi Shane, I bought an Alpha Cruncher and I must say I'm quite happy with it. That's awesome. Actually, a few guys I know from the In the Blues community picked one up. And yeah, I think they're pretty wild for the price, man. They're, you know, if you're into sort of big overdrive tones / distortion tones, delay and chorus, I mean, that's what most people have on a pedal board. So, good stuff. Alright, Metalcore says, can I jam a bit with the best tones which I have? I can't right now, unfortunately. It's too late to be doing that. Police would turn up. But I'll do one during the day coming up, and I can do that for sure. Christo says, gotta say, love the Guitar Search Saturday vids. Looking forward to more. I've actually just started editing the first one of the next batch of videos, so hang around for that. They're going to be hopefully better than the first lot. I think they're going to be more interesting. And not more interesting, just maybe more entertaining. And yeah, I don't want to give it away. There's a little bit of a secret to the next series, which is going to be awesome. So, oh, so you're from Melbourne as well? Me too. I'm from the eastern suburbs. We've got Dragos says that NT1 is awesome. Actually, yeah, Rode sent this out to me to do a video on, and they let me keep it, which was awesome. I used this all over my last album for acoustic guitar. Used it as my vocal mic, all the backing vocals, all that sort of stuff was done with this. And I got a Rode NT2A, and you'll see this on the podcast, and I use it for a lot of stuff. It's just a great mic. Endless Straps? Sorry. Is that how you say that? Endless Raps? Says, I love your channel here from Vancouver, Canada. Awesome. I've been to Vancouver once for 3 days, and it was the nicest city I've ever seen. It was spectacular. I had no expectations and no understanding of how nice Vancouver was. This was like back in 1999, so I guess maybe the internet, I didn't maybe have access to how, you know, the way the internet works today. So yeah, it totally blew me away. I just thought it was fantastic. Pedal switches, love you to hear your take on them. You know what? I haven't had a chance to use a lot of them. I think if you're using a lot of pedals and you've got quite a complex configuration, they're probably worth investing in. Just to simplify it, like if you've got a massive, like a really big board full of stuff, then it's probably worth picking one up, because then you've only got a few buttons you can hit as opposed to a mess on the floor. I'll see if I can get my hands on some. Maybe I'll do a demo or something of that. What do I think of Pete Cornish pedals? I think he makes great stuff. Expensive stuff, but good. Everything I've heard of his so far has been great. Ben asks an interesting question. How are my subscribers split between Australia and the rest of the world? Well, the majority of my audience is in the States, and that's totally cool with me. I think the next let me have a look. Actually, in terms of my demographics, it changes a little bit, but Canada's up there. Australia's 5th from what I remember. Japan's actually sometimes ahead of Australia, which is interesting. It's a population density thing too, so I'm not surprised that. Actually, Brazil's usually up there as well. Let me have a look here. It's demographics, playback locations. Here we go. So yeah, most of my, as I mentioned, most of my subscribers are in the States, and that's not the right one. Demographics is what I'm looking for. All right, so while that's loading, all right, so here we go. Let's see what it goes up and down. So Australia is actually third now on the list, which is awesome. It used to be seventh and sometimes fifth, but it used to always be lower. So yeah, we've got United States, United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, Germany, Brazil, Japan, France, Italy, and Netherlands, and then Mexico, Spain, Sweden. And it just keeps going down. So it's very, very close between like Australia and Canada. That could go either way every month. But anyway. All right, anyway, that's enough of that. Oakland, California. Cool. Yeah, there we go. And by the way, I get a lot of comments on my t-shirts like, hey, why do you go for that team? And I'm like, I don't. I just like the t-shirts. You'll see me wearing all kinds of different ones. Adam says, hey, Shane, have you had much experience with the Princetons? Yes. If you have a specific question, let me know. I like the standard blackface ones, so I think they're probably the nicest sounding ones. And the Achilles one that I've got still, which goes home on Friday, unfortunately, I love it. I really want to buy one. I think they're a great amp. They got a lot of clean. They got more clean than a Blues Junior, but they don't have like a gain stage on them. So that said, though, they're awesome. Great pedal platform amps too. Alright, so Sovesh asks, hi Shane, which Strat should I buy, Classic Vibe or Mexican Standard? If you have a chance to play them, make your decision based on that. You're not going to get a bad guitar either way. It just depends which one you like best. There's a couple of different Classic Vibes. There's a 50s one, which will have like vintage frets on it, and there's a 60s one which will have modern frets. So keep that in mind. The 60s one has bigger frets, and it looks very different visually as well. So in terms of the Mexican Standards, they're great guitars, so keep that in mind. Just try to play guitars before you buy them. If you don't have an opportunity to do that, you know, you're not going to buy a dud. My suggestion is if you buy the Classic Vibe, you know, you might have to obviously put better strings on it, maybe just set it up a little bit, but it should be good to go. Ben says, please like the stream, guys and gals. Thanks. Yeah, if you do like live streams and you have a question, or if I answered it, and please give it a thumbs up. Appreciate that, Ben. Cheers, man. Hi from Belfast. Awesome. Any recommendations for fuzz pedals running into a Cornell amp and Strat trying to get the Jimmy clean tone? Fuzz pedals into a Cornell, but you want to get a clean tone. I'm not too sure what you're asking me there, man. You want a clean tone, don't buy a fuzz pedal. But yeah, look, there's a million great fuzz pedals out there. Like seriously, there's a million of them. I'm not too sure what, you know, I always say look locally too. There's a lot of great local builders that no one knows of, unless you sort of search for them. My favorite fuzz pedal, give or take, would be the Anarchy Audio. It's called like a Bar Buzz, BAABZZ or ZZ. So check out that one. I reckon that one's pretty wild as a fuzz, but to get a clean tone though, yeah, I wouldn't be using a fuzz. Ahmad says love Vancouver as well. Been there many times. Awesome. Yeah, it's a beautiful city. Freddie Frets says definitely Mexican Standard. I'm a little bit husky today, guys, so apologies for the Barry White-esque lower octave going on while I talk here. But it's nothing that one of these can't fix. Yeah. The old Arnold Palmer. How's this? They're $1 in the US, $3 here. There you go. Welcome to Australia. Alright, so Robert says, just noticed your t-shirt's going to be a collector's item in a couple of years. Yeah, all of my t-shirts are so old, man. I'm like almost embarrassed to wear them on the videos now. We got Loris says, what's up, man, from LA. I just got the Blues Deluxe reissue. Do you recommend a Creamback speaker as a replacement? Look, the Creamback is a great speaker. It's really bass heavy, so you might find you're going to be dialing the bass back to 0. A mate of mine put Creamback in his, and it sounds super smooth, big, warm, all that kind of stuff, and still has the Fender tops, but it's extremely bass heavy, so just be cautious of that. I kind of find like the Swamp Thing is great at retaining the Fender tops, but also not having too much low end. A lot of people say the Swamp Things are way too bassy, but I don't find that at all. I would consider like a Creamback almost too bassy in that particular amp. But that said, you should be able to get a really great tone out of it. Just be pretty cautious of where you have the bass control. Don't set everything up at 12. When you put the speaker in, turn the bass off and turn it up and see how it sounds. Creambacks are one of the most note-defining speakers out there. They're really great. I reckon they're one of the best. Alright, so Lol God Bull says... Where do these people? Where do you come up with these usernames, folks? I can't pronounce that. Is that just to mess with me or what? Looking for a solid-state amp to use as my main gigging amp, preferably something to use as a pedal platform. Currently using a Deluxe reverb, but tired of tubes. Any suggestions? Get a Peavey Bandit. That's it. Buy one second-hand. Pay, depending on where you're from. In Australia, you shouldn't pay more than $200, $250 for a second-hand Peavey Bandit. I scored one recently here for $165. If you live in the States, you can pick them up for like $80. And I wouldn't even care what model or what year it is. Just get a Peavey Bandit. I reckon it'll be louder and cleaner than the Deluxe reverb, and it takes pedals just as well. That would be my suggestion. The only reason you'd want to go for a Katana is if you don't already have effects and you want something that can, you know, give you effects and an amp. If you don't need that, which it sounds like you don't, I would just go for a Peavey Bandit. That'd be my suggestion. Save yourself some money. Yeah. This is a great channel, by the way. Been watching it for years. Thanks, man. Let me just fire up this dashboard here. I've got 80 people watching already. Far out. Thanks, folks. Red Stripe or any Peavey Bandit? Yeah, so... Just play them. If you can get a red stripe one, get them. I really like them. The new ones actually aren't that bad. I've had a good chance to use them, but their clean channels voice slightly different to my ear. But yeah, you can definitely get some great tones out of them still. I give guitar classes, and my students are going to get their first guitar. Which guitar should I tell them to buy? A good electric guitar for all musical styles that's not too expensive. I'd probably just say Epiphone. You can either go for like a Epiphone Dot, like a 335 style thing, or a Les Paul, or go for a Squier Classic Vibe, or a Strat or Telecaster. That would be the first two suggestions. Look, Squier also make Squiers, obviously, like Strats that have a gold logo. I used to have one of them. The gold logo one's actually quite good. If you can find them, give it a rip. Alright, so Stop No Name says, what do I think of the Boss Waza Craft Delay? I think you should buy one. I think they look awesome, so get one, man. He's a mate of mine. I'm trying to convince him to get one. They look awesome. So yeah, the Waza Craft Boss Delay pedals they got 2 modes on them and they sound the business. Alright, so Slipper Man says, Nigel, just get a good silicon fuzz face for that guitar, volume turned down, clean tone when the fuzz is on. That's what he was asking me. Sorry, man, I wasn't too sure what your question was. So if you're talking about getting a cleaner sound turned down, most good fuzz pedals will do that. So Sovesh says, M says, is a Peavey Bandit too loud for bedroom use? Realistically, it is. Look, if you buy one of the new ones, it does have a power attenuator on the back. You can go from like 20 watts to full wattage. But, you know, it's still a pretty loud amp. I reckon if you're just going to be playing at home, don't buy an amp with a 12-inch speaker. unless it's like a digital amp you can plug headphones in or something. It's not conducive to happy neighbors. Sovish asks, how are the prices of Fender in Australia now? I heard they were pretty high. Yeah, they are, absolutely. I don't think much has changed, man. If anything, they've gone up. So to put it in context, I paid $1,200 about 2 years ago for my Blues Deluxe. That was the deal price. Now the actual retail on them, which isn't the deal price, is $2,400. So the deal price would probably be like $1,600, and I don't think the dollar's drastically changed in the last 2 years. It might have gone down a little bit, but not a whole lot. Have I had any experience with Music Man guitars? Only yes and no. Actually, yeah, I have. I played one at Jerry's Lefty Guitars. I think I did a video on that left-handed Music Man, and it was wild. I don't think they're bad instruments by any means. I think they're great, but I don't know enough about them, and I've never owned one to really comment any further. All I know is they feel great. So Stop No Names picked up the Boss delay. Good stuff, man. Well done. Vintage Ale says, any chance Brian Wampler will send you a Wampler amp to demo? They look great. I'd love that. You know, I actually emailed him and said how much are they. He won't just send one out for free. I don't think that's too. You know, it's probably going to cost him hundreds of dollars to ship it here. But I'd really love to check one out. I think they look pretty cool. All right. Do I have any experience with Scumback speakers made in the USA? No. I've heard a lot of good things about them from a mate of mine. Never had a chance to use them. Probably like my two favorite speakers would be, I love Eminence. Well, actually, I'll put it this way. I like the Swamp Thing, Texas Heat from Eminence. The Creamback's an awesome speaker from Celestion. And I really love the Tone Tubby speakers as well, but I've heard lots of good things about the Scumbacks. Have you ever owned a vintage amp? I've always played a Fender Deluxe Reverb reissue, but recently got a blackface 1966 Fender Bassman, and it's taken my sound to another level. I've dabbled in vintage amps. I've never owned one. For me, like, I really like having a warranty with stuff. I know it sounds kind of stupid. I might buy amps off friends and stuff, but generally, if I buy a Fender amp, I'll want the warranty. There's a reason for that too. A lot of, you know, you can have problems with amps and of any brand, but I kind of like having that. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Would I ever buy another Two-Rock? You know what? I think maybe it might be on the cards, but it wouldn't be the 22. I'd want something like a 50-watt 6L6 amp. I maybe made the mistake of buying a 6V6 Two-Rock, which I'm not a huge fan of. I'd rather have a 6L6 amp just for clean headroom and all that kind of stuff. So there's a maybe. Look, it would also be a practicality thing having a head and box. I'd do it that way too. I probably wouldn't go a combo again. But you know, it's a possibility. I'm not going to rule it out. I just wouldn't buy the one that I had again. Not because it sounded crap. It just wasn't for me. I would much prefer a 6L6 amp. All right. I saw you're a big fan of the Tokai guitars. They are not easy to get in Europe. Do you think they are comparable with Epiphone? Thanks and greetings from Barcelona. All right. So basically, the Japanese ones will kill most Epiphone guitars. They're as good as Gibson USA guitars. They are. I know people are probably sick of me telling them this, but the Chinese the Chinese Tokais are about the same, give or take, of the Epiphone. So you're getting essentially the same guitar. If it's just because you want a Tokai made in China, just get an Epiphone if that's easier to buy. You're essentially buying the same thing. Now, the Korean Tokais are that little bit better, but the Japanese stuff's fantastic. It really is. I had a Gibson Gold Top with P90s. It was a custom shop guitar, so It's worth probably 3 times more than my Japanese Tokai. They felt the same to play. Alright. Have I ever tried the 2 notes Caline Preamp? I'm thinking about getting an ampless rig. I haven't tried it, man. Sorry. Oh, M says he picked up a Royal Flush after my review. Awesome pedal. It's still my favorite. Got it on my board. I absolutely love it. It's my main overdrive. So on the In the Blues Facebook page, I just posted a clip of us playing a gig, and that tone was basically from that pedal. I love it. It's just a really great pedal. Ever tried an acoustic amp? Super clean? I was surprised. I have. I've never owned one though. I've just tried them in shops. Alright, slightly off topic, but there's no off topic with this, man. You ask whatever you like. How do I go from knowing a few scales and chords to actually soloing? The easiest way would be to find a song or something that inspired you to play, or inspires you to want to learn some lead. Watch some videos on YouTube or throw a DVD on. Remember those ancient circular things you could put into your DVD player and watch stuff? And just literally try to pick out pieces of that. And you'll find that most of the things people are playing will sit in the notes you already know, unless you're watching more complicated stuff. But if you're watching straight blues, for example, and you can hear that tonally it's mostly minor, it'll be easier for you to pick up. And listen to where the, listen to how he or she is executing the licks in perspective to what's going on musically as well. Because a good player can will hit notes at certain beats and all that kind of stuff, and intervals and all that. So just use your ears, pick an easy lick to start with, and play it to death until you can do it without thinking about it. And then play another one. Don't learn 3 licks in one day. You'll never remember them. Look, a lot of the licks I learnt were from a blues DVD called Matt Smith, A Beginner's Guide to Blues Guitar. I can highly recommend that as well. It's probably on YouTube as well. Alright, just found out Leo Fender was involved in Music Man and G&L Guitars. Also, Les Paul is a fantastic guitar player. Who knew? Yeah, he was, absolutely. And a guitar named after him, so he's doing alright. We've got Omar from Turkey. How you doing, man? Suggestions on taming noise on Texas Specials? On a Tele for recording. Yeah, look, the only real way around that, look, you can go on noise gate, but that's not really solving the problem. It's just blocking the noise between playing. You're probably best to just, if you're recording, just to keep turning around in a room, not in a circle, but turn from like 180 degrees to one other side, and see if there's a point in the room that doesn't buzz as bad. And also, don't plug into the same power board that your computer's plugged into. That's definitely not going to help. There's not a lot you can do. You can play on the in-betweens, which are noise cancelling, but if you want neck pickup dead quiet, you're going to struggle. The closest pickups you're going to get that do that are the ZX coils for Strats. They're still great. I want an amp for blues, and I'm torn between the Blues Junior and Vox AC15. I like the sound of the Blues Junior, but I think it sounds a bit boxy sometimes. On the other hand, the Vox is a bit trebly and harsh. The good thing about the Vox is you can actually dial that out. I gigged with a Vox AC15 for years, and an AC30. You can dial that out, but the problem with an AC15 is it doesn't have much mids. It's all lows and tops. Like the EQ curve sort of drops right in the middle. So the Blues Junior will sound inherently fatter. It may sound slightly more boxy because the cabinet size isn't as large, but you're definitely going to find that the Vox is going to have way less mids. But throw a tube screamer in front of it, and you're good to go. All right, just started learning. I'm 60. Have I left it too late? I think if you apply yourself, man, you're going to still learn. I know guys that have started late in life and they've become pretty good guitar players. It's just what I always say to people, instead of picking it up once a week for an hour, pick it up 4 days a week for 15 minutes. You'll get better faster, and apply yourself to learn one thing at a time. Don't let your age put you off. Hi from Venice, Italy. What's your opinion on the Fender Deluxe Custom 68? Any ideas of something with the same tone but less loud? I actually had one of those amps. I think it's okay. A lot of white noise, but otherwise not a bad amp. If you want that same sort of sound, try the Princeton that they make, the 68 Princeton. It's kind of similar, just not as loud, basically, which is exactly what you're looking for. What speakers would I recommend for my vintage Music Man HD 130? That's kind of one of those questions that I don't know what sort of music you play, and what is it about the speakers you don't like right now? Because those amps are actually pretty nice, man. I nearly bought one a while back, but it caught fire in the shop. Can you ask Achillies amps why they won't ship to Europe? I can, but best bet would be to email them and find out if you can. I'm not involved in the business, man. All I do is do the videos. So send Labros an email and ask if you need a specific answer. Go for it. But it might just be that shipping's either too expensive or unreliable, or I'm not too sure. I'm only making a guess. So yeah, definitely just email them. I'm looking at a custom black with gold hardware Tokai. Awesome stuff. Big Muff with tone wicker or classic Big Muff? Yeah, look, I'm not a huge Fuzz player, man, so I would just trust your ears. Listen to both if you can on videos. I'm sure someone's already done a comparison, and see if they can basically show you which one, and just listen. So, sorry, I was just reading, got distracted. That wasn't the best answer, but listen to both and just trust your ears. That's what I'd do. Any thoughts on the Roland Blues Cube Hot? Yeah, I think they're great little amps. I think they're kind of like a little, or very much like a Blues Junior, only a little bit louder. Not a whole lot louder, but louder. You'll definitely notice they're cleaner and louder. They take pedals well. I did an A-B shootout between the Hot and the Blues Junior as well. So, how'd you learn solos from by other guitarists? I joined a cover band and I never learnt solos from anyone besides a few licks. I find it incredibly hard to remember the rhythm, as in where and when to play. All it is training you. It's like, you know, learning lines for a television show or a movie or something. You just got to do it over and over until you sing it in your head in context to the music. Like, I'll show you something. I'm going to grab my acoustic-ish guitar. Like, hopefully you can hear this. I don't know if the mic's behind the guitar, but... Oh. 100-year-old strings. Alright, so... I literally hear, like, you know, Sultans of Swing? I literally hear that, you know, I hear that in my head, but I'm also tapping my foot. And that's what it comes down to. A lot of people don't listen to the drums. So if you're not listening to where the beat is, you're never going to be able to master someone else's solo. It comes down to hearing the groove and tapping your foot in combination with the solo. Like, so it's sort of like, oh, where's D on this thing? That's not D on this guitar. This fret's it's a right-handed guitar, so yeah, I am out. But anyway, you got to be able to hear. You got to be able to actually connect where the rhythm part of the track is with what you're playing. Otherwise, you're not going to get someone else's solo down it. You can learn the licks, but if you're not listening to and also adjusting your guitar playing to the groove when you play it live, it's not going to sound right. You can learn a solo note for note, play it live with a band who has it at a different tempo, and you'll sound out unless you sort of contort the solo to fit the rhythm. So any guitar player should always be listening to the drums. more so than anything else. If you're learning someone else's solo, hear it in context, play it a million times until you can hum it, sing it, hear it in your head, and execute it without thinking about it. And those strings are awful. Ugh, it's dusty. Getting another question about, I wonder if Achillies are busy enough with Australian orders. Possibly. Yeah, I'm not too sure. What's the hardest guitar technique you've learned and why? Well, there's one that I still can't do, which I want to work on. It's this Knopfler thing where he sort of goes E, D, A, G with his, he's sort of like picking with his thumb when you're playing chords. One day I hopefully will get that. But it's something I just need to work on, and I'm always doing other stuff, so hopefully I can do that. Alright, what's your advice on getting a John Mayer tone with the Boss Katana and a Strat? I would say keep the amp clean, roll out some treble, just use the clean tone, and use one of the overdrive pedals, and just use your ear. That's how I make all my patches for Mustang Monday. I use my ear. And just literally try to match what I hear on a particular song. The rest of it comes down to your hands. All right, I may have missed some questions here. The chat just scrolled a million miles. Can you do a series on Aussie-made amps? Yeah, actually, that might be kind of fun. That's from Sydney. I don't know if Mate and Make amps. Maybe they do. Maybe I'm just not aware of those. But Virtual Life says, what's the drink? So I go to this import shop up the road here, and I got an Arnold Palmer sugar-free iced tea and lemonade. It's non-fizzy. It's actually pretty nice. I just buy these for something different every now and then. What's your advice on getting... Oh, I already answered that. Yeah, the other Virtual Life says, is there a John Mayer tone? So if you're talking about his PRS tone, then just get a fizz pedal and, yeah, not his PRS tone, sorry, his, Grateful Dead, is that what they're called? I always get the name of that band wrong. That tone I wouldn't replicate if I was you. Just do your own, shape your own sound, man. That's better than copying someone else's. Use someone else's tone as a guide, and then out of that, you'll end up with your own sound. That's what I would suggest. All right. Beach says, try a compressor as well for cleans. Alright, Cass says, looks to me like Achillies do ship overseas. They can accommodate different line voltages and accept payment in a range of currencies. Well, there we go. Always check the website, guys. I don't sell any of this stuff. So, yeah, head over there and ask as many questions as you have. Hey, we got VS Audio here. How you going, Panos? The maker of my favorite couple of effects right now, and for the last, 6 months now. VS Audio make really cool stuff. I love my Royal Flush, the Vibler. Neither of them has left my board, so good job. Alright. Have I ever tried out Tone Raider pickups? I haven't. It's been said that modelling amps will not take pedals well. Does this also apply to modelling pedals like the Gembox? Possibly. I think if you're going to run a distortion into the Gembox, it's probably not good. You probably want to run it after and then have that go to the amp. That might be the best solution there. Hey Sean from the Bay Area. How are you, man? I know San Fran really well. It's a great place. Have I ever messed around with any of the most recent Fender vintage Teles and Strats? I played one of the latest American, is it Pro Series? Telecasters? It was unbelievable. So good. That was the day I picked up the... Was it the day I picked up the Mustang? No, it was the day. It was a couple of days after that I went back, and like almost a week after I got that Mustang and took it back. The day I got the Mate and I played a couple of their Teles, and if I didn't already own one, that would have been a nasty situation to be in. I tell you what, they're great. I really like them. People call me a Fender hater for giving them shit about their prices, but look, they make great guitars. They make great amps as well, in the most part. I'm a big fan. Tips for better phrasing. I actually put a video up about that. So if you go over to like my help tutorial video series, I'll have a full video on like concepts about phrasing. So, do I have a suggestion for a bedroom amp? I love the classic Freddy King tone, if that helps. I always say, like, if you're gonna just use it for practicing at home, don't buy an amp with a 12-inch speaker. Just get something with a 10 or an 8. That's generally enough. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say in terms of that Freddy King tone. Look, best bet might be just to say get one of those Pro Junior Fender amps, the little 8-inch or 10-inch speakers, and they're like 7 watts or something. I can't remember how many watts they are, but that might be a good choice. It's nice and simple and should sound pretty cool. Alright, Stefan says, hi Shane from Paris, can you recommend a cheap analog delay pedal for classic rock and blues? In terms of cheap, go over to donadeal.com. Their actual own brand of delays are great for their price. There's one called the Yellow Fall Delay, I'm pretty sure it's called. I think that's pretty cool. I think I've still got one of them somewhere. Alright. Oh, sorry, I'm going to have to scroll back up, just bear with me. Favorite guitar player changes for me all the time. Right now it's Chris Kane, and I'm going to see him next week. So, yeah. He's just a monster. Alright, George says, if I ever do a guitar search Saturday overseas, go to London. There are some amazing guitar shops there in Denmark. Appreciate the heads up there, that's great. Metalhead Hippie says, have I ever tried lace sensor pickups? I have. I think they're pretty good. They roll out a little bit of tops, like a little bit of top end. They kind of sound like you got like a tube screamer on, how that kind of rolls out that, you know, 5K, maybe like 7K frequency or something, but that would be, like, they're good. They don't buzz much. They sound fine. Just stay away from those boost circuits. Alright, we've got the same question as before. Classic Vibe or Fender Mexican? My suggestion is play them both. Make your mind up that way, unless it's a price thing. You're going to get a good guitar either way. Have I ever tried Ibanez Artist Core guitars? No, I haven't, but I've seen them and they look pretty cool. Ahmad says, the Achillies amps, are they mine or on loan? They're on loan. Unfortunately, Panos, the guy who makes them, hurt his back pretty bad. He's alright, but yeah, he says he won't be able to move them around for a while, so I think he's coming back this week to pick them up. I wish they were mine. That Princeton especially, and the Vibrolux. Awesome. How much did I fork out for my Tokai Les Paul? I think it was around $1,700, which was a little more than I wanted to spend, but our dollar sucks at the moment, and I paid $15 like 10 years ago for my, well, maybe not 10 years ago, for my 335 style one, which is great. That was technically secondhand but never played. And to put it in context, my gold top was $4,000, technically used but never played. And yeah, they're both great. Do I ever use any MIDI devices? No. Oop. Chat has scrolled. Sorry guys, one sec. Maxi says the Donna Yellow is awesome. Cool. Ben says, I put a set of Tone Rider PAF pickups in an Epiphone Les Paul and it made a big improvement. Basically, pickups are the tone, in my opinion, of a guitar. The bridge can also have an influence on that as well, but Put a good set of pickups in any guitar, it's going to sound great. Alright, so what are the differences between a Nux OD3 and a Caline Pure Sky? So the Caline Pure Sky is more of a flat EQ. You can, of course, add bass and treble, but when you click it on, it doesn't sound like the Tube Screamer sound. It sounds like the Timmy, basically. So it'd be like comparing a Timmy Overdrive to like a typical Ibanez Tube Screamer. That's the difference in the short answer. So one has more mids, which being the Nux or the Nux, sorry, and the other one you asked about, the Pure Sky, is more of a neutral sort of mid sound. Next question, what cheap and cheerful 5-watt amp do you recommend? Well, for home use, I love my little Bugera V5. It could have a little bit more top end in it. And I've made a video about that, using it with an EQ pedal and how much better it sounded. It kind of feels like the EQ pedal, it kind of feels like the tone control should go about 2 notches further than it does. But in terms of home use, we put a pedal in front of it or whatever, and it's great. And you can switch from 5 to 1 to half a watt. And it's just great. Have I ever tried Bullet strings on a Strat type guitar? I have, and I reckon they're really great strings. Yeah, I agree with you. Alright, Dylan says, hope you're doing well. Are you a fan of Gary Clark Jr.? You know what, I don't own any of his albums, but that's not uncommon these days because you can just watch lots of stuff online on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. I think he's a great player, a great singer, a good vibe. Yeah, I kind of like his style. Any tips on how to get more views on your YouTube channel or how to market your videos on YouTube? Yep. 2 podcasts ago, I basically covered that, sort of explaining like how to go about establishing a new channel and moving it forward. The short way of doing this would be start with some videos that are a little different. Don't start doing demos of Tube Screamers. You'll never get found. No one needs another video on that. So try to come up with something original or different. If you want to get more hits and more views quickly, invest in some production equipment. Even now I have one studio light on, right? If it wasn't on, the video would look like crap. So don't shoot in a dark room without a tripod. Come up with a logo. Do all the best practices. There's plenty of tutorial videos on this. Go over to Daryl Eves or DarylEves.com and he'll be able to basically, his channel's great. It's a really great resource for that. I've spoken about it on podcasts before. It's one of those things that, actually I'll tell you what, also on my channel I put up a video maybe 3 weeks ago about what I use on my channel and my YouTube gear and how little you need to sort of make it look good, but you sort of need to start strong. You can't start with a crap first video. It will just not do well. So invest in some knowledge before you invest in gear. That would be my other suggestion. All right. Okay, I highly recommend Gary Clark Jr.'s live album. Awesome stuff. Alright, cheers. Trish, how are you? Would you go Epiphone Les Paul Standard or Tokai Les Paul Traditional? Is the Tokai Chinese, or are you talking about is the traditional one the Japanese one? Sorry, I'm not 100% certain. In terms of the Chinese versus the Epiphone Les Paul Standard, there's not a lot in it. If you have a chance to play both, maybe do that as well. I do know that a lot of the new Epiphone Les Pauls will have push-pull pots and all that kind of stuff. If that's appealing, go for them. You know, I played one of the new Epiphone Les Pauls recently, and it was really, really good. So there's not a lot in it when you're talking about the Chinese stuff. The Jap stuff is that little bit better, but you're paying quite a big difference in price. But both is really great. Kevin says, damn, all my Tube Screamer videos. Yeah, look, if you're going to start doing YouTube, start with something different. You know, find a niche that works for you and work with gear that you have. There's nothing wrong with doing a Tube Screamer video, but You know, if you expect a Tube Screamer video to get hit straight away, it's not going to help. And also look at what's hot and what's out, because like if a new amp's coming out, like that Fender Mustang thing, I bought one with the intention to do videos, and then I wondered whether I'd keep it, and it ended up being a giant flop for me personally. But you know, that's the right video at the right time. So think about that kind of stuff. There's a lot of thought that goes into a lot of content on YouTube, and that was one that I put a lot of thought into. Thoughts on the discontinued Boss Wah? I don't know that one, sorry man. Nigel says, great channel, gotta go. Thanks man, thanks for hanging around, appreciate that. If you are watching, feel free to give the video a thumbs up, folks. I don't know how many people are watching now. We've got 100 almost, awesome. It's just going to be a bit of a quick one tonight. As I mentioned at the start of the stream, if you can't tell, I'm husky as. Favorite John Mayer songs? I like his trio album the best. I also like Continuum, or Continuum, however you say it, Continuum. Slow Dancing in a Burning Room's good. I like Gravity. Mostly guitar stuff. I like his version of I Got a Woman. I like his Come When I Call. That blues tune's great, as well as his slow blues. Not really breaking any ground with those songs, but great grooves, you know. Steve Jordan, Pino Palladino, awesome rhythm section. Kevin says maybe make a troll YouTube channel, but with nothing but Tube Screamer videos every week. Oh, that's fantastic. Look, I started a secondary anonymous YouTube channel. I had 500 subscribers like that. You didn't even see my face. So it takes not a whole lot of effort. It just takes a little bit of planning and a little bit of finding a niche that works for you. Alright, I'll take a few more questions and I'm going to get out of here. Hey Shane, have you ever tried the JHS Vintage or Freddy King Strat or Tele? I haven't, man. Have I ever tried a Harley Benton guitar? No. They have a nasty reputation, but Henning Pauly is defending them so vibrantly. Does he work for them as well? I know he works for Joyo. Shane, I'm now experimenting playing... I'm not sure what that says. Do I have any exercises to improve fingerstyle playing? Yeah, I'm probably not the best guy to ask about that, because like a lot of what I do on like on an acoustic guitar is just however felt right to me. Like, and that's what a lot of guys do. Like if they're playing like what I'm doing here with this end isn't necessarily like probably out of a book. It's just like something that felt right. I kind of always like keeping the groove with stuff. Especially if you're playing solo. That's a really good way to get like, just keep the groove going. It's just a combination of getting used to which fingers hit what strings. And I like I said, I don't do this right. Ideally, like I said earlier in the stream, the Knopfler thing he explains it actually how he does it on a lot of videos, but he'll basically play E, D, A, G, and then, oh man, I can't even do it as soon as I change chords, but it's harder than it looks. Like try doing that, try playing the same thing with your thumb, so you're playing E, D, A, and G, and you're going back and forth over that. So you're going, I can't do it. I'm just going to butcher it. Find guys that have a style that you enjoy and try to pick bits out of that. Hey, we just got someone using the super chat. Holy crap, Ben! Thank you so much, man. Far out. Oh man, I appreciate that. Thank you. If you have any questions, man, feel free to ask if you haven't already. Yeah, well, thanks so much, man. That's awesome. How often do I have to set intonation? My new one is about once a week just now. That doesn't sound good. That sounds like there's something else going wrong. Intonation, I don't set more than once a guitar, I'm going to say, maybe twice. If you change string gauge, you might have to do it more. It might pull things out of whack here and there, or if you travel with your guitar a lot or something like that. But setting up intonation more than, like, setting it up once a week, I would seriously get that looked at. It sounds like something is going wrong. Chris says, nice fingerstyle playing. Thanks, man. Like I said, I kind of ripped off a good friend of mine was the king at that sort of style. I tell you what, do yourself a favor after this is done. I'll give him a shout out. Type in Voodoo Child, right? I'll type it into the chat here, and you're gonna say, "Oh yeah, Voodoo Child, great." And then I'll punch his name into the chat so you can check it out. And he's playing solo. Oops, I spelled his name wrong. Hang on. He's playing solo on the edge of a mountain, right? And his finger playing, his percussive finger style is amazing. Go watch it. It'll blow your mind. It's nothing like Hendrix version or anything. It's just he's a monster player. Hey, is that a pound or is that a euro? I think that's a pound. Thanks for that. Appreciate that. Far out, guys. You know what? We only ever got the first super chat donations or tips via the massive live stream that we did, so appreciate that. Thanks heaps. Someone says $15 would be better. Man, you don't have to tip the chat, tip the channel or whatever, but if you do, thanks so much. Anything's appreciated. Seriously, like, I didn't expect that, so thanks a lot. David says he ended up getting a TE90 because of Nick. Yeah, Nick in the States is like the king of sub $500 guitars. So Kevin Olben says, yeah, Knopfler can do the ragtime thing. Absolutely. Knopfler can play anything. Look him up playing with Chet Atkins and it will blow your mind. It's nothing like the Dire Straits stuff, which I love too, but you know, he's got a song called Boom Like That, which is kind of like his particular sound. And all of that, it's just, like my friend Rick says, he's the gift that keeps on giving. Just when you think you've heard it all, you hear something else and you go, wow. The only stuff I don't really get into is just like Irish-influenced music. But in terms of his guitar playing, man, he's just an absolute beast. Robert Thomas says, look up banjo rolls for his finger-picking advice. There you go. Have I ever played a Peavey Classic? Yep. Played the 50, the 30... and the 410s, which is maybe 100. Is it 100? Or is it a classic 50 with 410s? I can't remember, but I've played them all. The best sounding one is the one with the 410s. That's like the sound of the gods, I reckon, that amp. It's amazing. The 21250 was okay. From memory, I think the one I played was faulty. A mate of mine bought it in the end, but he ended up having to get it fixed. So I don't want to base my assumption on it from that. But they're good amps. BV Ninja, how you doing? I have a vintage V100 PGM, Peter Green. Considering the price, it's a great guitar. Only slight downside, it's 3.8 kilograms, but Wilkinson hardware, so it's roughly 8 pounds. Maybe slightly more. Harley Benson has a lot of cheap lefty guitars. Shane, maybe it's worth a try? Maybe. You know, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if I want to take the risk on them or not. You know, I was looking at Rondo Music's website, and they've got a couple of really cool looking lefties on there as well. I think that's a shop out of Canada. For a couple of $100, you can get like a Les Paul with a bolt-on neck with P90s and all that. So that might be an interesting thing to try. Ahmad says, do I do all my own setups on guitars? Yeah, on the most part. I try not to buy a guitar that is too far out of whack. And the good thing with like Strats and Teles, there's so much good information out there on how to do stuff. It's not, look, I've learned a lot from friends as well, so not everything I just learnt how to do. Rick and Brian, two of my friends, they know a lot about that stuff. And I haven't had a guitar set up ever in the last 4 years. I've had some nightmares too, like when I had that SG for a while. I couldn't get it right, you know, and I took it to Brian, my friend. He had a look at it and fiddled with it and got it playing really well. So I learned a lot from him. So yeah. Oh, Dylan, far out, man. We got another tip in the chat. That's crazy. Thanks so much, man. Far out. But yeah, thanks so much, man. If you have any specific questions, feel free to let me know if I haven't already answered them. How high do I like my action on my Tele? So any Fender guitars, generally I'll have the action slightly higher than I will on a Les Paul style guitar, and that's pretty normal. So Dylan, thanks again, man. Appreciate it. That's too cool. Yeah, you don't have to. Like I said, folks, you can just watch and like the stream, and I appreciate that. But any tips will go back into the channel. All right, love the Mustang Mondays. Keep them coming. Jerry Garcia, Grateful Dead tone would be awesome. Yeah, I've got at least 4 to 5 more coming. I don't know if I'll get to 10, to be honest. It's not my amp, so I'm going to have to probably give it back at some time pretty soon. But I've got 3 that I've almost finished. 2 that I think that are done and that are good, and they're all different. So I'll keep that in mind. Thanks, Anonymous. Shane, this is from NJP Official. He says, "Hi Shane, I have the amazing Mexican Fender Strat." Oh, hang on, I've lost the question. Hang on, sorry. The chat keeps scrolling and I lost it. I have a made in Mexican Fender Strat, and every time I bend the string, the bridge bends and the lower strings to pitch. Do I know what the problem would be? Yeah, absolutely. So in the back of, if you take that plastic plate off the back of your guitar, you'll see you'll have 3 springs, and that sort of holds the tension on the tremolo arm itself. So if you're bending a note and you've got the guitar straight off the shelf, they're designed to be used with the whammy bar. What I would do is go to the music shop and they should just give you a spring. I'm sure they've got 1,000 of them sitting there that they don't need. Put an extra spring in there, so you've got 2 on either side and the middle one with a gap, and tighten up the 2 screws towards the neck that hold that actually create the tension on the springs, and lock it off, or lock it, or maybe just tighten it so it's not as easy to bend. That's one of those things with Strats. That's the first thing I do. Anytime I have a Strat, I lock off the tremolo. If you want to use it, just tighten up the screws that go into the body, but also get another spring. I really think Fender should just put 4 on their guitars. I don't know why they always use 3. It's probably just saving it $50. All right, thoughts on PRS, and have you ever considered buying one? I haven't considered buying one. I've played a few. I don't think they're bad guitars. They're just not for me. I haven't found one that visually, I think, matches my overall boring approach to buying a guitar. I don't like guitars that are too blingy. I also don't like the fact that every one of them that I've played has had a really thin neck. And when I say all of the ones I've played, I've only played 3 or 4. I played 3 at Jerry's lefty guitars, and I played, was it 2 in Australia? I might have played 2 at his. I demoed them as well, and I played 2 in Australia. They were nice guitars, but, and this is just my opinion, like everyone's got their own opinion on what they like and dislike, but a PRS to me doesn't replace a Strat or a Tele or a Les Paul. It sounds like its own unique guitar. So you'll buy one based on that. Don't ever buy one and sell off your favorite Les Paul and your favorite Strat, because it doesn't do that. Lol Godball says, just picked up a Peavey Bandit. Thanks for the recommendation. No worries, man. I hope you're enjoying it. That's super cool. Ben says, happy birthday for the other day. Sorry I couldn't get to your gig. I had one myself about 5 minutes down the road. Awesome stuff, man. Hey, no worries. Thanks for the birthday wishes. 38 years old. Man. 38 years old, and I'm at, yeah. It's just, the time's going fast. It's crazy. The gig went really well, actually. We had our friend Oscar join, or was sitting with the band, who's like a prodigy on bass, and it was just like a very, very different and very, very inspiring gig, and we actually have the audio from 2 of the sets, so I'm going to mix that down into a live CD and give it out for free. But yeah, it was cool. Hey, we've got Mark's Naughty Guitars here as well. How are you, man? Thanks for dropping in. Check out his channel too, folks. Mark's Naughty Guitars. He's got his own YouTube channel. He says it's my fault if the Peavey Bandit sucks. Look, it's fine. The thing with the Bandit is it's all in the EQ control. So the EQ control on that amp will do a lot in conjunction with, depending on which one you have, which clean channel you use as well, because there's the vintage and the modern setting. Depending on, like I said, it's not all of them have that, but I'd be really surprised if you can't get a great sound out of it. David says he'll be 38 on the 13th. Cool. It's the same date as one of my friend's birthdays, actually, so happy birthday, man. Thanks for dropping in too. Appreciate that. I've had David a lot on the live streams back in the day. Here we go. Miles O'Toole says, finally took your advice and put a Swamp Thing in my Blues Deluxe, an original 93 model. Beautiful. So much better. Thanks for the advice/demo. No worries, man. That's what I like to hear. I reckon that speaker turns that amp in from a great amp to a Two-Rock killer. You know, when I kind of kept this on the down low, but about a year ago, maybe a bit longer, I actually bought a second Two-Rock amp. But it had a lot of problems. There was a lot of problems with it rattled. The tubes were, everything that could have gone wrong with that amp went wrong, and that's like an expensive amp. This is where I did a podcast about not taking your own amp into a shop when you go to buy a new amp. So I made the mistake of not taking my Blues Deluxe with the Swamp Thing down. And the Swamp Thing was, in the Blues Deluxe, to my ear, sounded better. So, you know, everyone likes different stuff, but that speaker turns a great amp into just an absolute killer. Alright, what's my favorite non-guitar YouTube channel? Cool question. So I like lots of different stuff. I would probably say off the top of my head, Cinemassacre, which is like they're guys around my age that do like movie reviews, video game play stuff, and all that kind of stuff. I'm not a huge gamer, but I do like playing games from time to time. I like Joe Rogan podcast as well. The Delray Misfits. You're going to think about me a bit differently after you see that channel. I listen to Review Tech USA. I like his YouTube channel as well. Stefan Molyneux from Canada. He's an English guy. He does sort of philosophy stuff. Fresh Out, which is an interesting YouTube channel. It's kind of about guys go to prison or come out the other side. They interview people and that have turned their life around and all that kind of stuff. I really like that. I watch a couple of NBA related channels as well. Another one that I've gotten into recently, which I find extremely amusing and entertaining, is called Para Breakdown. Like Paranormal Breakdown, but just Para Breakdown. He takes all those Bigfoot sighting videos and shows you that it's a suit you can buy from Target, you know, or whatever. He's awesome. Yeah, his channel's great. I like Marcus Brown as well, or Brownlee, or however you pronounce his name. Yeah, so that's, you know, he's the tech review guy. Crazy Russian Hacker is a new one that I just got into as well. I really like his stuff. Vsauce, I don't mind his stuff. I don't like all of his videos, but I'm subscribed to him. But that would be pretty much my main ones. And just to throw in something completely different out there as well, I like the RX Muscle channel as well, which is like a fitness related one. Some good interviews, and Dave Palumbo's got a really good insight into like how to take care of your body and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, they're pretty much most of the channels I would say that I'm subscribed to that are non-music related. I got like 150 subscriptions, but that would be probably my main ones. All right. Is the live YouTube thing going to be a regular Tuesday night gig, same time? Look, I just do them when I have time, really. Like, I don't really plan them, but I can... Maybe I should start planning them a little more. 700 AUD for a Mexican Strat from Toman. Good deal or not? Well, actually, that's $200 cheaper than you can buy them at the deal price in Australia. So, yes, I paid $900 for mine because I'm an idiot. How do I power my pedals? I use a one spot when I play live, and I've got a Caline CP8, I think they're called. They're like a brick power supply. Shane, the crowd is demanding a new chat like you did with the other YouTubers. Yeah, okay, so we do have another one of them scheduled. It's going to be on the last Saturday of the month, I think. So it'll be like the 24th. No, or is it Friday night? It might be the 30th in the US. So that'll be the Saturday the 1st here. And that'll be with myself. And it'll be hosted on Tone King's channel. I'm not sure who else he's got lined up, but I'm leaving that to him. He's organising this one. But I'll be on his channel, and then hopefully we can sort of bounce around the channels. That's the plan. But yeah, I definitely plan on doing more. I tell you what, I also sent out an email to Andy from ProGuitarShop.com. So, and they were pretty interested in doing a live hangout, which is cool. So, Andy, I know you're not watching this, but jump on a live stream, man. There's only so many demos you can do. Have a chat with us; it'd be awesome. So, yeah, if he, I'd really like to interview him, or at least have a chat with him on a live stream. So yeah, we'll see how we go. If I could give a shout out to one other YouTube channel, who would it be? How about Lynart Guitar? I reeled off like 20 YouTube channels just before, so I'd consider that my my shout out. I can't really think of anyone else off the top of my head. Let me have a look. You know what? I'll tell you what, one good YouTube channel I'm enjoying is Brian Wampler's one. He's got a natural knack for YouTube, so yeah, check him out. I think he's got some great stuff. Alright, I'll tell you what, folks, I'm gonna get moving. I guess it's probably gone way longer than the 30 to 60 minutes. I have no idea how long I've been streaming. It doesn't really matter, I enjoy it, but 1 hour and 7 minutes. Alright, we've still got 91 people watching, so if you can, folks, give the video the thumbs up. Thanks for all the donations too. You know, I didn't ask for any of that, and I appreciate it. So, thanks so much for throwing a few bucks this way, guys. It'll all go back into good stuff for the channel. That's the plan. And yeah, so Guitar Search Saturday, I've just started editing the first one today, and I'm going to be looking at maybe, it was supposed to be the end of June, but I'm going to see if I can start it a little bit earlier. I'm going to see if I can start around the 17th of June. It will just depend on a few factors, but if it all goes well, maybe I can start it on either the 17th or the 24th. So we'll see how we go. Thanks for hanging around, guys, and yeah, I appreciate you know, all your questions and all your feedback and all that kind of stuff. It is always good. Alright, well, I'm going to go over there again to turn it all off. But yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. I might do another one in a few days. I'll see how we do. We might try a different time of the day or something, and I like to mix it up time-wise, so we get different people from different parts of the world. So, cool. Catch you soon.